Good tidings YouTube, Iron Tyrant here again with an episode of Weapon Locker and the Premium Weapon series. For those who haven't seen any of my reviews yet, in this series I'll take a look at the high priced weapons in the game, see if their quality matches their cost. If you're research strapped however, take a look at my budget series, which is a counterpart to the Premium series. Today we will be looking at the Terran Republic's LC2 Lynx carbine, used by the Engineer and Light Assault classes. Unfortunately, the Lynx hits the top bracket for the standard weapons in terms of cost. These standard weapons means the normal versions, rather than the blinged out gold versions, such as those available for the underboss. The Lynx comes in at a devastating 1000 certs, or 700 SC, making it a pretty pricey gun to buy. So, is it worth it? So let's start with the pros. The biggest pro of this gun is its simply insane fire rate of 800 rounds per minute. This puts it on tie with one of the fastest firing guns in the game, the T7 mini chain gun. This amazingly high fire rate makes it an absolute beast in close quarters, as you can drop enemies in literally no time at all. The same fire rate also makes it one of the fastest firing carbines in the game. In the TR market, its closest competitor in terms of fire rate is a dead tie between the default Track 5 and its relative of the Lynx, the LC3 Jaguar, both clocking at a still fairly impressive 750 rounds per minute. Let's move on to its next biggest advantage, the clip size. Like with all TR carbines, it enjoys a larger clip size of 40 rounds, opposed to the other factions which normally have around 30 rounds. This extra 10 rounds can easily make the difference in a firefight, and it also means you have to reload less often. While on reload, the reload speed of the Lynx isn't really a pro or a con, it falls somewhere in the middle for the TR, at 3.5 for a long and 2.96 for a quick. The difference being, a quick is when you run the clip dry. The Lynx tends to fare well against the other TR carbines with its long reload, but is often beaten with its quick, but not by a huge degree either way. When it comes to aiming down sights, the Lynx has a fairly impressive aim down sights multiplier of only 0.75%, meaning you move at 75% of your normal speed when aiming down sights with the Lynx. This is good for close range, as it means when aiming down sights it isn't going to hamper your movement speed too badly. When it comes to recoil, the recoil in my eyes also falls somewhere in the middle ground, as it isn't great nor is it terrible. It has a fair threshold multiplier of 2 times, which falls in somewhat in the middle of the carbine market. It has a slight ballast to pull to the right under sustained fire. This in itself makes it easy to control than those which sometimes pull in both directions, as once you learn to control its recoil pattern, it becomes fairly easy to use. Let's move on to the cons. The damage per bullet is an unfortunate drawback of the Lynx. It matches the rest of the TR market at its maximum damage of 143 per bullet up to 10 meters, but it fails to stack up with it as its minimum damage, as it only manages 100 damage per bullet at 60 meters, while the rest manage 112. This difference of 12 reduces the Lynx's effectiveness at range compared to the other offerings in the TR market. The muzzle velocity is another detrimenting factor for the Lynx when it comes to ranged combat, as it only manages a muzzle velocity of 450 meters per second, the same as the nanite system's offering, the NC-11C, and only 10 higher than the lowest, this being the Jaguar at 440. This is ironic considering it's intended to be the longer range version of the Lynx. The highest muzzle velocity of the TR carbines is the T5 AMC, at an impressive 570 meters per second, but this is to be expected from a carbine intended for longer ranges. Let's move on to the certs. Here I'd recommend 2 loadouts. Even though this weapon is primarily a close range weapon, it can still be used to some degree out to medium ranges, meaning it is somewhat adaptable. The 2 loadouts I use is there is one for close range that I use on my light assault, and one for close to medium that I use with the Engineer. First off, for light assault. For this loadout my sight is a 1x reflex at a cost of 30 certs. I would normally go for 2 times, but it isn't available for this gun. However, the 1x is more than adequate for close range engagements. It just lacks that slight magnification increase on offer by the 2x. For the barrel, I use a suppressor at a cost of 100 certs. I use the suppressor for a simple reason. When playing as light assault, I like to play as a bit of a hit and run class, and the suppressor aids me in this. For the rail, I go with the advanced laser sight at a combined cost of 200 certs for both rank 1 and rank 2 combined. This allows me to be more accurate from the hip, tightening up the cone of fire. This can make all the difference in close range. It means I have to aim down sights less often. And finally, I use soft point ammo at a cost of 100 certs to further increase the weapon's usefulness in close ranges. This brings the cost of the gun with a light assault loadout to 700 SC and 430 certs, or 1430 certs if you buy the gun with certs only. Moving on to the engineer loadout. For this loadout I still do use the 1x reflex sight. I did try the sights with more magnification but found them too powerful up close. Here again a 2x would have been ideal. For a rail I use a forward grip at a cost of 100 certs to help the recoil of this gun, making it easier to use at ranges. And finally I use soft point ammo again. Though this loadout is more designed for a medium range, it's still nice to have the edge that soft point grants you up close. And besides, when I say medium ranges, with this gun it is more of an extended close range loadout. So this loadout will only set you back an additional 100 certs compared to the light assault loadout, since the only extra is a forward grip. This of course if you were getting both loadouts. So in conclusion, the Lynx is a deadly weapon in close range, made possible by its high rate of fire at 800 rounds per minute, its good hit firing ability, its aim down sight's penalty, and of course its clip size of 40 rounds, all work together to make it a deadly bullet hose in close range. The weapon is still okay out of the start of medium ranges, but starts to be hampered by its low muzzle velocity at 450 meters per second, and its poor minimum bullet damage of 100 at 60 meters. In essence, this weapon gets less effective as the range increases. As a maximum range, it would take a huge 10 bullets to kill a non-infiltrator or nano-weaving enemy, opposed to its 7 bullets within 10 meters. But overall, the Lynx is still a devastating weapon, and well worth the certs in my opinion. In close ranges, you will rarely be outclassed when using the Lynx. The only weapons to hold a candle to it are the other fast-firing carbines, and of course the shotguns and SMGs. Apart from that, generally speaking, you always have the advantage in close range, even more so if you're using it as a light assault, as you'll also be able to get the drop on the enemy, making it a great ambush and flanking weapon. Thanks again, this is Iron Tyrant, over and out.